Coram Deo is a counseling and a training center. We offer counseling services as well as therefore training in pastoral narrative therapy. Coram Deo is a Latin word which means in the presence of God. We are not a church, we are indeed a faith community as we try to bring together faith or pastoral subject matter with this approach that we've grown to love over the years of narrative therapy. Although narrative therapy is also applicable far beyond the context only of therapy. Coram Deo wants to promote hope in the world. So we see ourselves as an oasis of hope, and we partner therefore with institutions across the country, even as far as Namibia, to train people in this pastoral and narrative approach to be hope bringers in our world. So what we mean by stories is that we acknowledge stories as a very important aspect of our lives. We are all born into stories. When we are born into the stories of our family first and foremost, and also therefore of our culture, of our race, of our gender, and we cannot entirely separate ourselves from those stories. This becomes the first framework for how we understand the lives that we live. And so when we do narrative work or narrative therapy, it acknowledges that we have to recognize these stories as important in our lives. There are stories that's not healthy for us, and we promote the stories, the alternative ways of being in the world, the stories that we can then indeed live in. We bring pastoral and faith subject matter together with narrative therapy, because both of these can stand on their own, pastoral counseling as well as narrative therapy. But when we understand that our faith has everything also to do with stories, then it just makes sense to recognize our faith as central and important aspect of how we give meaning to life and how we understand the things that happen around us, or how we don't understand the life that we are living. So it is also recognizing that we might have questions on our journey of faith, and we do that through stories. Narrative therapy is different than other approaches. We try to keep people's experiences intact or together. You shouldn't have the experience that the person that you're seeing is trying to analyze you or trying to give instructional advice. It's a different way of approaching the person that comes to see you. We believe that the person that comes to see us, they are the experts of their lives. We are not the experts of their lives. And so we listen in a particular way, and we collaborate with people to develop those healthy stories that we can live by that sustain us. It is a respectful, non-blaming approach to helping people. It does not necessarily mean that it should be in counseling. It could be in other roles as well, coaching or facilitation or mentoring. But it could also be relevant to just leadership roles or management, or even just parenting for the teacher. So it's a way of understanding, a way of listening and helping people to live in the preferred stories of their lives. The best way to learn about pastoral narrative therapy is to become part of a community. And so that is exactly what our 2-year program accredited by the University of Pretoria does. So it invites you to become part of a community, and we normally open for enrollment in September. The first year topics on stories as such and on pastoral theology. And then during the second year, we get much more specific in terms of subject matter that covers addiction, abuse, relationships, depression and anxiety, children and teenagers, as well as then trauma, grief and loss. You can reach us on our website, coramdeo.co.za. If you want to ask questions about any of our programs, you can email us on info@coramdeo.co.za, or if you would like to specifically make an appointment for counseling, you can also email us appointments@coramdeo.co.za.